Hey, how y'all doing today? The sun came up, whether you see it or not. It comes up every morning, whether there's clouds or rain. But when you can actually see it and feel it, there's just something about that warmth and that brightness that's so beautiful. So, as my morning is going along, I'm about to do an interview with someone who is currently in what we want to call social media jail. And I know that there's many who beat their chest about that. Like, that's my rite of passage because I'm a threat, kind of thing. But many are very humble about it. Like, here we go. Obviously, there's some things I'm saying or doing or expressing that others don't like. And that is our freedom of speech that we have here in the United States, and that our ancestors fought with their lives to provide for us now. So why would we get all the way into this 20th century and begin to accept the squelching of our voices? Why would we accept this in any way, shape, or form? So the interesting thing is, in the day, if you wrote something, you would get some criticism for it, feedback, whatever you want to call it, oust or included, depends on what the topic is, right? But you debate it, right? You just do that. And then if you imprint something that you feel is information and others know it's not factual, it's not true, then it can be removed from a platform. But back in the day, the platforms were books, newspapers, TV, radio shows, congregations in whatever domestic domain, i.e., religion, politics, etc., right? And there was also a time and day where you weren't allowed to print what wasn't true. You weren't allowed to put out false information. And then who are your fact checkers there, right? Because we already know that we've got people like, ooh, let's not put all that out there. Let's tweak that information a little bit because we don't want everyone to know that, because that might give them some power, and then take away our power. So we know there's societies all up in every organization doing just that. Feeding, crumb feeding, whatever you want to call it. But it was bringing me to this thing about, like, now we have this social media where there isn't committees out there going and listening and reading everything someone is saying or putting out or whatever. There's bots. There's bots that do it. So someone will program a computer to look for keywords. And then these keywords will then pull something into another compartment. It's just like job hunting. And now many of you have experienced this in your job hunting, especially prior to 2020 and then after, looking for new jobs. Resume writing is very different. It's all done via the computer systems. And you have to put keywords in there that get your resume acknowledged, pulled out of the feeding tubes and into a compartment of, hey, let's take a closer look at this. Well, that is also happening in what we're doing here on social media. There are outlets and groups and societies within societies that don't want certain things expressed, said, or known, true or untrue. But it's done by a bot system. So then it may wind up that you get warnings, and it may wind up that you get in social media jails. You're barred for a while. None of your passcodes work. And I think once that occurs to someone, you're on like a flag. You're like on a no-fly social media list or something. But either way, it's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong what we hear in the media. Oh my God, this actress or this singer liked this tweet or said something. Oh, let's drop their contracts. Let's ruin them. You know what I mean? It's like, stop. Stop. If you can't see the scaffolding and the ladder and the bridges that are being built, they're being built in ways that will begin to silence many. And another thing I will tell you that I have observed across the board is that I will see more women in these social media confinement spaces. Yeah, I do. And again, haven't we come so far? Why are we allowing old programming to continue in what's happening now? Why? So fast forward to this moment, and I'm doing my glyph cards for the day, and I always ask, okay, what card? Are we done with this card? Is it going to be a single digit, double digit? And then the digit is picked, and then I sift through and find the card. I never know what the card is because I don't remember the deck at all whatsoever. And so the interesting thing is, and I'm going to show you this card in a sec. Well, actually, I'll show it to you real quick now. It's guilt, shame, and embarrassment. And although I'm a little dyslexic, reading it backwards in the camera it's not gonna sound right. All right. So guilt, shame, and embarrassment. What does that have to do with what I'm talking about? Everything. Because if we're being silenced or we're having to deal with the hiccups between the heart and the brain that's coming out of here, and we have to keep squelching it because I'm gonna get some haters, so I'm gonna get some love, some whatever. It's very tough on the nervous system, and then it just eventually starts to silence people because they just don't want to speak out anymore. So anyway, let me finish this. Shame, guilt, embarrassment. This glyph can remove residual guilt, shame, and embarrassment from the body because we carry that, the emotional stuff. It affects us. So your affirmation is, I release all guilt, shame, and humiliation. I see myself in the light. I release what is not love and light. I am grateful for the healing that is taking place within me. I'm going to read that again. I release all guilt, shame, and humiliation. I see myself in the light. I release what is not love and light. I am grateful for healing that is taking place within me. Now, how I would reword that, because if I say I see myself as light, right? Then I want to see myself as love and light. I don't want to see myself what I'm not. So I'm always careful with my wording. So I would personally reword this to, I release all guilt, shame, and humiliation. I am living, loving, breathing light. That is what I am. So if you are living, breathing, loving light, nothing else has got room to live in there. Just telling you, because it extinguishes. Zap, zap, zap. Happens all the time. Yep. And then I am grateful for the healing that is taking place within me. That's how I would see it. Just keep it 100% on the positive. I'm living, breathing, loving light. I am a column of light. I release all the things that do not serve me. And I am living in my loving, breathing column of light. Did a video on that, folks. Go back and look at it. So here we go. There's your glyph. So if you want to focus in on this particular face, it's an interesting face. This is your affirmation. You can freeze frame the video and go there. So you're releasing guilt, shame, and embarrassment, because when we say things and then we put out our feelings, our expressions, no one can really argue with your feelings. That's just wrong, people. When someone feels a certain way and expresses a certain way, they shouldn't have fear of daggers, swords, and hammers. No. So then, my affirmation is, my voice is my loving light, living column of breathing loving light. What I say, what I feel, what is in resonance, in frequency, is with love. And it is irrelevant to me when others voice opinions about that. So it's really irrelevant to me, good, bad, or indifferent. It's irrelevant. I love hearing that I've touched someone, but I don't want to hear that I've touched someone and incited their wrath and they want to come back at something. I won't acknowledge it. I just won't. It doesn't enter my column of light, because I would be giving you a permission slip to say F you back to me.